To use an else with error handling, we add it after the except blocks. We see it here on line 15. So here's an example of what this looks like. Our code runs until the try block, and then it attempts the code inside that try block. Here, notice we've changed the value of my string to the string that contains the number 1. That means this conversion, myInt equals int myString, actually does work. So no error is generated inside this try block. Because no error is generated, the code automatically skips either of the except blocks. It only checks those if an error was encountered inside that try block. But now here on line 15, we have the keyword else again. This basically says, if no error was encountered, then run the code inside this block. So if either of these except blocks was actually executed, the else block would not run. Here, no errors were encountered, and so our code prints that no errors occurred. And then it prints that the code is done executing. This kind of adds to our metaphor that try and catch blocks are kind of like conditionals. You run some code and say, if this error occurred, then do something. Else, if no error occurred, then do something else. Now, you might ask, as I did when I was first learning Python, why we need an else block. Why not just include this code down here after the try and catch blocks? Much of the time, we can use it without making a practical difference in how our program runs. However, using it is more stylistic. In many languages, it's normal to have huge blocks of code inside of a try block, even though the expected errors might only occur in 1 or 2 places. The else block lets us restrict this try block to only those lines of code that might actually generate an error. The else block will only run if no errors were encountered, so we can trust that everything inside the try block happens successfully before running the things inside that else block.